What's up, dudes and dudettes of the internet? My name's Scythe, and we are back again for another Trove. How y'all doing today, folks? Hope you're doing fantastic and wonderful. Hope this video makes your day even better. Before we get started, I want to give a shout out to my man. Okay, disconnected. Nice. Isn't this great? I love how now when Trove says that it's disconnected and you click retry, now it just freezes the game. All right, take two, and it doesn't seem like there's any Jurassic biomes around, but hey, whatever. So anyways, people know that I'm online. I gotta go to Do Not Disturb right away. Oh my goodness gracious, that was a close one. So anyways, shout out to Lord Scythe, Mar CTYS, and Chronozilla. We're gonna be giving away 4 SS Draconic ships, which are immune to lava. That's what those boats are, so you can use those in the lava world. Hey, Biscuit. And then 4 love bugs and 4 centaurs. So if you want any of those books, you're gonna have to hit that like button, be subscribed to the channel, and leave a comment in the comment section down below with your username, at which point Scarlet Aspire will respond to the winner and let you know, hey dude, you ended up winning, and you gotta either contact myself or Nintendo Gamer to get your prize, and hopefully you'll be able to get it right away. I have been on Trove as often as I can, but a lot of times I appear offline, so you can always just try whispering me in general, except for like right now where I'm in Do Not Disturb because I'm trying to record stuff. So a couple things that are very, very interesting that I ended up discovering recently. These might be old for lots of the people that are at the end game and stuff like that, but for myself personally, you know, it's all new to me because there was a mod video that I put out recently kind of explaining how there was a mod. I had a showcase of a mod that has, well, you can just click the card in the top right-hand corner of the screen, but essentially speaking, it ends up showing you the amount of total health that a Titan boss has, as well as the average damage per second. Now, that one very, very much interested me because I've been testing things like crazy, man. And although people talked about this for quite some time, I didn't really know whether or not, like, it was actually true or not. Oh, hello, Chocolate Dragon. We finally got one on camera. Nice. But yeah, hashtag confirmed, folks. Even though with our ultimate ability we're doing 100 million damage, we're actually doing over 100 million damage. Because the way that it works in Trove is there's actually a visual cap. So the visual cap as far as damage is concerned goes to 100 mil. 99999999999, right? That's probably way too many nines. But I was testing in Shadow Towers, and we're actually doing somewhere around 160 to 168 mil. So that was pretty cool to see that we're actually doing over max damage, even though the game doesn't actually tell us about that. So that was very interesting because what I was starting to come to and starting to think about was, hey, wait a minute, if the max amount of damage is 100 mil, doesn't that mean that our ultimate ability with the Shadow Hunter is going to be capped at 100 mil, and then our basic attack is only going to get stronger and stronger and stronger, so that eventually using your ultimate is going to end up being useless as the Shadow Hunter? Now I'm happy to report that, that is not the case because of the fact that we're doing over max damage. So how cool is that, you know? The other thing, too, that I've noticed lots of people talking about lately and have been wanting me to talk about lately, just because I guess there's lots of new people coming to the channel and stuff and don't really know most of the classes or anything as much as we all, you know, as much as all the regulars do and as much as we all do. But yeah, I do want to confirm this, folks, because lots of people have been asking. Neon Ninja, technically speaking, is the fastest for grinding U9. And although he does do pretty darn good damage, yes, you know, using his shuriken, pretty much you use your shuriken twice and it's about the equivalent of the Shadow Hunter's ultimate, but it's 10 times more reliable, right? Not to mention you can cast it like 50 zillion more times than the Shadow Hunter can use his ult. And that's one of the big reasons why the Neon Ninja ends up taking the cake. But the real reason why he's the fastest for grinding is because when you do your right click with the Neon Ninja, he gets a movement speed buff. Now, I want to give a shout out to my man Ragekill, who has since quit Trove like a million years ago, but he was actually the original person that discovered this Neon Ninja movement speed build, if you want to even call it a build. I'm always reluctant to say that Trove has any types of builds though, folks. And if you're just tuning in, the reason why is because this game, you know, and the gem system kind of throws the idea of builds out the window because you don't really, well, whatever, who cares? I'm digressing. Either way, I wanted to give a shout out to my man Ragekill just because he ended up like a million zillion years ago. Here's a little story, right? So, long time ago, there was actually this thing called the boat hop that I ended up figuring out. Well, I figured it out for myself, and I guess kind of popularized it, if I do say so. I don't know. But either way, what it essentially was is you would jump and use your boat, and every time you would do this, you would end up getting your boat's movement speed, and of course, the maximum boat movement speed is 140. Now, Ragekill ended up inviting me into a club in secret and showing me, like, he's like, hey dude, let's have a race. You're gonna do the boat hop and I'm gonna use my Neon Ninja backflip. And he ended up doing it, and to my surprise, even though I never ended up making a proper video about it, I'm pretty sure I had that in the Trove series at one point, but I never made like a tutorial on it because, I mean, there's no builds in this game. But needless to say, he outran me. He outran 140 movement speed. So that was pretty insane back then, and I'm very happy to see that lots of people have been using that a lot more often lately, and there's even been a couple mods, one of them that I don't know if that video is coming out. I think that comes out sometime this week, yeah, where it actually, somebody ended up making a visual mod where characters have like a trail behind them in case you end up, like he even said in the description, in case you're using the Neon Ninja and find yourself getting lost, right? So anyways, I just wanted to say that the reason the Neon Ninja is the best as far as grinding U9 is because of his speed. He can get to the next dungeon faster than any other class in the game, thanks to the fact that the boat hop is non-existent and the Game Breaker cannon is unstable for one, but also just because the Game Breaker cannon is reliant on a cornerstone, which you can't, of course, use everywhere that you want, right? Now, the other reason too that I would consider the Neon Ninja, and I think I mentioned this once before, maybe I didn't, but I consider him to be the best for grinding, especially over the ranged classes, because melee attacks are a lot more reliable than ranged attacks are in this game, just because of how broken the lag and the system is and stuff like that, right? But anyways, enough of that. The other things too that I wanted to just kind of mention in passing here, just in case you're just tuning into the game and wondering why I'm sitting here saying, you know, what the gem system is, you know, it's garbles. It ends up making it so that builds aren't possible and stuff like that. I mean, because of how random they are. Now, technically speaking, you could look at the gem system, and there are people at the end game that do this, where there's people at the end game that are either pay to win or fortunate enough with their random generation that they've been able to get their hands on some fantastic gems. Because unfortunately, I cannot say in good conscience that Trove requires any skill whatsoever to get to the end game. It does. Most of all, the only thing that Trove actually requires of the player is commitment and good luck. That is the biggest reason why most of the end game gets thrown out the window, and why I talk about it a lot in the videos and say how it's disappointing, you know, because it doesn't matter how much I grind. Like for example, my friend Nintendo Gamer. If you don't already check out his YouTube channel, you should, because he's a great guy. What is this dungeon? Why did it generate like this? And needless to say, he recently ended up getting 19k PR on his Shadow Hunter. And I think it's safe to say that he's probably grinded a little bit more than I have on my Shadow Hunter, if not the same amount of time. He's definitely grinded more than me as far as leveling up all of his classes and stuff is concerned, but for the Shadow Hunter, I would say that both of us are probably pretty even as far as our time is concerned, right? And he ended up getting such good luck on his gems that he ended up getting to 19k PR, and he's actually way stronger than I am now. And I'm not saying this because I'm salty or anything like that, folks. I just want to get the point across that unfortunately the gem system throws individual players' skill out the window, and that's kind of what they did on purpose when they added the gem system, and that's also why when the Mantle of Power patch ended up getting added to the game a million years ago, unfortunately, a lot of the player base ended up quitting because suddenly all of the hard work of players' dedication was thrown out the window for random numbers, you know? And I don't mean to get all on that stuff. I just kind of want to explain the history of why I talk about these things so casually in the videos, because I know that there's lots of new people coming into play. Now, another thing too that I just want to mention in passing, folks, is that the patch for Trove ended up coming out today. It should be patching right now as you're watching this video, if you're watching this as soon as it gets uploaded, right? And needless to say, it's actually a really good patch. I'll have a patch video coming out tomorrow that's going to talk in more detail about everything. But it's a good one, man. And yeah, I know that I kind of rambled a little bit long about some of these subjects, but I just wanted to let you all know that, yeah, in short, Neon Ninja is the strongest because he's the fastest. He's not really the strongest as far as Ultra Towers are concerned, because for Ultra Towers, it's about damage over a long period of time, which is why Gunslinger takes the cake for the ranged character, and apparently all these other weirder characters end up taking the cake for raw damage. But, I mean, needless to say, when you're fighting Daughter of the Moon and going for Purple Name, most of the people that get top 100 know an exploit that they do not want to share, and I'm all for that. I don't want to share it either. It's the same as how I don't want to share the candy barb glitch that you end up using. That's all I'll say about that one, because unfortunately, if I make a video of it, it'll probably end up getting nerfed, as most things do that I talk about in videos, right? But anyways, folks, I gotta rush this video out. I know that this was a little bit of a longer episode, and we've been doing that a little bit lately, so hopefully that's okay. But yeah, I just wanted to let you all know a couple of these things. I gotta get back to grinding, and also, here's the biggest thing about today's patch that you gotta keep in mind, folks, and I'm gonna be experimenting with that probably later today. You'll catch me online doing it, but XP from level 20 to 30 apparently has been nerfed and is going to be a lot less of a grind. So I don't know whether or not they actually lessened the amount of total experience like they say in the patch notes. They haven't told us by how much, or if they just kind of rebalanced and redistributed the amount of XP within each level, that it feels like it's less of a grind. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know about that, but I'm going to be experimenting with that, and you can bet that I'm going to talk about that in the patch notes tomorrow. Thanks for watching, though, folks. Hope you enjoyed. Before we call today, I also just remembered that I have these Stellar and Power gem boxes right here that I'm going to open just because. Ooh, whoa. Oh, man, that's actually a really good gem. Except that it's got max health on it, so it's not really that good. At least I'll get a bunch of gem dust, right? Yep, at least I'll get a bunch of gem dust. I didn't think these gems could get 3 stars. I thought they only go up to 2. Oh, no, that's the smaller gems. I don't know. Either way, thanks for watching, folks. Hope you enjoyed. Sayonara, and stay epic.